Recently, I took my family to Monterey for a late summer vacation knowing there would be some car week events I could check out. I wasn't expecting much, so I was completely blown away when I saw some of the cars here. Basically every car I've ever dreamed of owning I came across at some point during the week. The best part though was being able to chat with a number of the pit crews or owners to learn a little bit more about their ride. In this video you'll meet a few of them, and you'll also get a feel for what Monterey Car Week is all about. The first event I went to check out was the Pre-Reunion at Laguna Seca. Located about 10 miles from Monterey, it's one of the more well-known road tracks in the US. In addition to hosting a number of well-known race series, Laguna also hosts historic races like the Monterey Pre-Reunion. The reunion races themselves are basically vintage GT and Formula cars racing in their respective classes over the weekend. What makes this event extra cool is the pits are completely open so you can wander around and see the cars up close. As I started walking around, I immediately noticed that Carroll Shelby was alive and well here. I saw at least 6 or 7 Gen 1 GT350s, and it wasn't long before I stumbled upon Paul in a genuine 1965 Shelby Cobra.
My name is Paul. I'm with a company called Cobra Automotive, and we restored this car back in 2015. It's been a race car pretty much its whole life, and we've been running this car particularly out here in Monterey since 2016.
Is it a 289?
Yes, it is. 289 Cobra, original, all aluminum body.
Scale of 1 to 10, what's the fun factor on this?
The acceleration rate. We've road tested a couple of times. The thing just takes off like crazy. It's a pretty cool car to drive.
So what is something like this worth? What would this go for at auction? Would that be how you would sell something like this?
I don't think he ever wants to sell it, but at auction, 289 Cobras are bringing over $1 million for a well-sorted. We got a historic car with some provenance, some race history team car. They've been probably $3 or $4 million, depending on who wants to buy it. So.
Okay. So has it ever seen rain or snow?
Not since we've had it. No, we don't run it in the rain.
Yeah, right. Okay.
You'll learn really quick how to wreck one of these things in the rain, so it's not much fun.
Like, what do you think of the Factory 5s and the Super Performant replicas out there? Do you have any opinion on those in comparison to like something like this?
Well, this, you've got to have a pretty hefty bank account to have one of these. Kirkham does a nice car. Shelby does some continuation cars that are really nice. Factory 5, I think they're probably one of the cheapest buy-ins to get a car to go cruising around and have some fun. And then they go up from there. ERA is a company in Connecticut. They do a really nice car. You got anything from a $25,000 buy-in all the way up to $1 million buy-in.
Right.
So,
have you driven the kit cars compared to like this?
We've had some at our shop, yeah.
So how do those compare in like performance and handling and things?
Some of them are actually pretty good. An original 289 Cobra is a transverse leaf spring car, so it could be a little rough on the road. I've driven big block original cars. We restored one for the owner of this car. We restored a very well-known big block SC car for it. You don't want to be driving on a hot day. You just heat soak in the car. And
sure.
So I also, about a month ago, we delivered a kit car for a customer that we drove around. Very well behaved, lots of power, and you don't have the buy-in that you have as one of these cars. And it's a cool car to drive around. It still turns heads. And if you do it the right way and you don't paint it some flamboyant color or something like that, you'll get away with it. We don't do these cars anymore as far as like SVRA. A lot of guys have pulled out with the original Cobras, and they kind of.
Do they just pull out because of the risk?
Yeah, basically. Okay. And this is. You can run this in, not to say that you can't have an accident, but here it's a little bit more
right, because you're racing other high price.
You're racing other cars that have the same value, so you'll start respecting your neighbors on the track.
Right. Well, tell you what, it's a beautiful car, and I do appreciate you taking the time. I'm glad I was able to see one today, so thanks for taking the time to chat.
Thanks for coming out and supporting it.
As I continued my stroll through the pits, I noticed there were almost as many Porsches here as there are Teslas in California. One of them was Ron Goodman's 1954 356, which came here all the way from Sydney, Australia. And who am I here with today?
Ron Goodman from Sydney, Australia.
So tell me about the cars here. What do we got?
This one's a 1954 pre-owned Porsche. In full trim, it's running all to Australian standards as far as racing is concerned. It's a 1620 engine, standard transmission, standard wheels.
So fun factor, scale of 1 to 10, what is this?
11.
Have you taken this through a drive-through before?
No, but we have driven it on an ice rink and we've also driven it over the harbour bridge.
So what's it worth? What do you got into this thing?
I've probably got into it a lot more than it's worth, but that's usual. But it's not about what they're worth. We enjoy the cars.
Oh, of course. Would you ever put a Fram oil filter on it?
Would I ever what?
Put a Fram oil filter on it.
I think it's running one now.
Oh, really? All right, all right.
Given I have a love-hate relationship with my C3 Corvette, I had to stop and get Mike's opinion of his. As a fellow owner, I think he summed things up perfectly.
So this is a 1975 Greenwood, so it's a wide-body Corvette.
It drives like a station wagon with a load of plywood mounted on the top.
Next, I was on to see a very rare Ferrari which I never dreamed I would see in person. This car could be in a museum, and how cool is it that Norman brought it to the track to race? In my opinion, the world needs more guys like Norman.
All right, so tell me about the car. What's the car?
This is a Ferrari GT350. Drove a Le Mans in '61. And also we've had it in Le Mans for the Le Mans Classique. And then we also drove for Derek Bell.
So tell you what, on a fun factor scale, 1 to 10, what do you give this?
Oh, it's a 10.
But what's it worth? If you wanted to auction something like this, what?
Oh, probably 20 million.
Incredible, incredible. And has it ever seen rain or snow?
It's seen rain in France once.
Okay. Well, tell you what, thank you for chatting today. And again, what was your name?
Norman Thursby.
Norman, thanks for chatting.
Okay.
Appreciate your time today.
Most of the prototype cars I saw had some serious hardware under the hood, and even run-of-the-mill small block V8s like Ken's 289 powered GT350 were putting out significant high RPM horsepower.
Hi there, what's your name?
Ken?
Ken?
Yes.
Hey, thanks for meeting today. So tell me about your car here.
It's a 1966 GT350 Shelby Mustang. It is a 289. The vintage race rules restrict us to keep it at 289. It has to have period correct parts.
Also, it's flat cam and everything, huh?
It is flat cam,
right.
stamped rockers, the whole thing.
So what's a car like this worth? Looks like you got two of them here.
We do. We maintain those cars.
Let's see.
Probably 150 to 175,000.
And would you ever put a Fram oil filter on this?
Probably not.
After a long day at the track, I was making my way towards the exit, and I had to check out Michael's 61 Jag before I left Laguna.
So hi there, what's your name?
Michael Doyle. It's a 1961 E-Type Coupe. It was purchased in '61 to race. A doctor named Dr. Howard Francis bought the car, had it set up by the Hanford Speed Shop. A pro driver named Norman Balzer professionally raced the car, and it ran from '61 to '72.
What's the fun factor? Scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, being in a Jag like this is just beautiful. Even if I'm not winning, I know I'm looking good.
Well said, Michael. Well said. I made my way back to Monterey to see that Car Week was alive and well in the hotel parking lot. Alright, Factory 5 community, are you sitting down? There I saw a Ferrari kit car. Jim told me more about the 1967 P4 Re-creation him and his son built with all Ferrari parts.
Hi there, sir. What's your name?
Jim Carpenter.
Hi, Jim. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for bringing the car. So tell me a little bit about the car today.
Oh, it's a 1967 Ferrari P4 Re-creation. It was started out life as a 1990 Ferrari 348. And then it went into a new morphous of its new life with a P4 bodywork on it. It's powered by a Ferrari 360 motor and transmission.
Scale 1 to 10. Show it fun factor. Scale 1 to 10.
This is a 10. This is a 10.
I suppose you get looks everywhere you go.
Oh yeah, it's just great. It's fast. It's got a lot of grunt, and it's just a delight to drive.
With my wife nagging me to turn the camera off, it was time for me to spend some more time with my family. Before I did, however, I had a chance to talk with Vince about his Gen 1 Ford GT.
Can you tell me your name?
Sure, Vince Vento.
Hi, Vince. Thanks for chatting today. Tell me a little bit about the car.
Well, it's actually it's a very early model. It's the 30th one ever built. This is our driver.
Oh, I see.
We're racing at Monterey in Laguna Seca with two cars. And and this is our driver for the Quail Rally and the kind of cruise around.
I love seeing a driver in a Ford GT, sir. I mean,
Right.
that's excellent. Fun factor, scale of 1 to 10.
With the exception of making a turn where you're always afraid you're going to run someone over because you can't see out of the side of the car, it's a 10.
The rest of vacation I spent with my family checking out some of the natural wonders in California, but if you are any kind of car enthusiast, I highly recommend you check out Monterey Car Week. I'm definitely going to make a return trip, and I might even bring a car along so I can participate in some of the events. Why don't you leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.
Wave, Aaron.